This is John Bessire. My next guest is Victoria DeMar, and she's a producer of a called Werewolf in Prison.
I'm actually the star of Werewolf, and I wish I were the producer. I wish I could say I was responsible for this masterpiece. I'm the star. I'm Victoria. I'm the star. It was co-produced by Vincent Blanchio, directed by Jeff Leroy, and co-produced by Vincent Blanchio and Nick Melillo, written and directed by Jeff Leroy.
Okay, what part did you play in the movie? The werewolf or somebody else?
I played Sarah, who was attacked by the werewolf, and I become the werewolf, and then I take out the women's prison.
Take out the entire prison?
Yes. She wakes up in a maximum security prison of the criminally insane, thinking that they're accusing her of massacring her boyfriend found at their campsite. And she said, no, I was attacked by a werewolf. And they don't believe her, and thus she was. The curse takes effect, and she takes everybody out.
Also, you got some props over here, like werewolf hands and so on.
Yes, these are the werewolf hands.
What other movies have you starred in?
Many. Cyclone Invaders, A Zero, Blood from the Sand, Shadows, many. IMDb me, you'll find out.
They're all horror movies or other types?
Predominantly horror movies, yes.
Also, some of these things on here, that's from various movies?
This is the next film I'm actually co-starring in with Vincent Blanchio, called Bioslime, John Lechago's Bioslime. You may know John Lechago from Blood Gnome, which did very well. We're currently in production with this, so look for this next year.
About what time next year? You know yet?
Approximately a year from now. I would say it would be on the shelves approximately a year from now. We're still in production. Post is going to take a while.
Okay. Yeah, this is currently October 2007.
Yes. Look for it in the fall of 2008.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Lesniak, and I'm the artist on BLAZIN BRANDY. It's a brand new comic book that was released by Scrap Pictures, which is a brand new independent comic book publisher. BLAZIN BRANDY is basically about a young girl from the 1700s who's running away from home, and while she's en route to America, her ship ends up being attacked by pirates, and so she ends up marooned on an island filled with all of these monsters. But then to make matters worse, she loses her memory and then lapses into the split personality of a trigger-happy large game hunter. And this book was recently released in stores in July, and so you can check it out at your local comic book retailer if you're interested. Yeah, the book was a collaboration with me and a friend, Leslie Kenzel, who does a lot of young adult fantasy fiction. And basically, the inspiration was we wanted to bring back fantasy into comic books. Yeah, basically, the general concept is just a fun fantasy action book. It's age appropriate for ages 8 and up. Basically, it's kind of drawing into that old animation style where, like the He-Man and She-Ra, where there's a whole fantasy adventure island, and then even some of the little creatures that we have in the comic book have a special language that we have a translation in the back of each book so that you can decipher what it is that they're saying, just to bring a little bit of fun back into comic books.
What is your name?
Gary Barth.
Okay. Gary Barth. Also, you say you do special effects for movies and...
Actually, I don't do them myself. I have a company. I used to have a DVD magazine on special effects that sold at Barnes & Noble and Borders a few years back. And after closing that down, I decided to focus more on the tutorials. And so I have a lot of friends in special effects. And so what I do is I get them to make these DVD tutorials on how to do special effects right here.
Like, how would you do a zombie special effects? Take a while to do it?
Well, it depends on what you're talking about. There's some where you would do a full prosthetic, so you'd use foam latex and things like that, and that can take hours to do. And on our DVDs, for people that don't have hours or access to foam latex, we have something right here, which is a zombie makeup that's been done by Greg McDougall from Stan Winston Studios. And he uses just standard grease paint makeup, so it's using sort of light and shadow to create the effect of a zombie without having to spend all that time on doing it.
So if you're on a really low budget, what's a good way?
This is it. Buy the DVD and get yourself some grease paint makeup and watch it and learn. Yeah, you can knock out one of these probably in about 45 minutes. I go to the various shows, including like the different shows like Fangoria and things like that. And then we have a website too, www.moviefxmag.com. But I think everybody that tries these out, it's a good way for beginners to get into special effects. We're also about teaching technique, so I've had a lot of professionals in the industry purchase them as well because, you know, professionals like to learn from other professionals. So there's a zillion techniques out there that people can learn from, and my DVDs cover some of them.
Yeah, my name's Joaquin Arroyo. This is my brother's artwork. His name's Arthur Redouble. The comic book he's created is mainly about Latino culture in the 40s, about zoot suits and the zoot suit riots, and he mixed it with today's college type of, I guess, like how college students act in college with frat parties and getting drunk and getting cheated on and going to partying and having troubles growing up. And the main character is about a young, shy Latino boy or a college student, and he's trying to learn how to become more strong and to fulfill his dreams. And the background's basically old 40s cars, and if you want to zoom over here, he has 1940s bombs. He has a couple Chevelles, pictures of young women, and this is a zoot suit that a Latino would wear in the 40s. And more bombs. And it's the title of the comic book's name's Chita, and he has Mustangs here, and that's about it.
Yeah, my name's Gary Evans. I'm executive producer of this movie called A Kiss from the Grave. It's basically American Dream, as two guys decided that they were going to make a movie, and they put out a casting call on Craigslist, and kind of people stood in line to want to be in this movie, and they wrote the script. They produced the movie by themselves. I helped out a little bit as the executive producer, and it took them 3.5 months to get it together, and then about 1.5 years to actually shoot the film. It finished 3 weeks ago, and here we are at Silicon trying to sell the film.
Okay, what's the film about?
The film is not quite a horror film. It's more like a police thriller film. A police officer has to make a choice between his daughter, leukemia, and taking a bribe from a real bad guy. And it's kind of a slasher film, but it's and we're kind of at this horror genre of cinema, and so that's what it's about.
My next guest is Greg Solis, and he wrote the horror book called Rise and Walk. Could you tell me more about the book and the plot?
Yes, Rise and Walk is basically a zombie book, a zombie novel about some paintballers who go up in the woods to play a paintball game, and all hell breaks loose and the zombies attack. And because they're paintballers, they have certain skills and, like abilities and familiarity with military tactics, and they're able to defend themselves pretty well against the zombies. And there's a couple of other characters in there that are very important as well. 2 women that they find who, I've been told I write women well, in as much as like make them real, genuine people, and hopefully that does carry over. And so they play a very important part in surviving the zombies as well. So.
At least the people go out paintballing all the time, because a couple times I've done it, actually most people don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, they are. They're semi-pro paintballers. The characters in the book are. So they're familiar with how how to militarily take care of business and operate that way. And they also have. I don't want to say it's a MacGyver-esque technique, but they end up using their paintball weapons by modifying them to help them a little bit, just deal, because they're very low on ammunition. So to deal with the zombies, they make some pretty lethal weapons out of the paintball guns. So yeah, it helps them.
How'd you come up with the idea?
Oh gosh, the guys I go camping with, my brother and some friends of mine, we've been camping for years, motorcycle riding. There's motorcycle riding in the book. And one day somebody said, oh, what would happen if zombies, attacked while we were camping? And I'm just like, dude, we'd be fine. We'd be okay. I think it was about the same time Blair Witch came out. And because people were like, oh, it's so scary to be in the woods. And I'm like, there's nothing in the woods that scare me except bears, because, even if you have a gun, a bear is pretty hard to take down. So that's where the initial idea came from. I was going to film school at the time at San Francisco State, and I wrote it as a screenplay, and we tried to do it, but it was too expensive, and we had problems with, some of the actors. So I put that on the shelf, thought about it for a couple of years, and I wrote the book And it was so much easier to write the book because I could add more characterization and more stuff than you can actually tell in 90 minutes or 2 hours in a movie. And we could also do things that you couldn't do physically with visual effects or, makeup. We were able to, there's some horrible things that happen in this that I wouldn't know how to shoot. I wouldn't know how to video. So, yeah, it was liberating.
Also, have you written any other books?
No, this is my first book. I am working on a sequel to it already. And it's self-published, but I have interest from a publisher right now that I'm not at liberty to disclose. But I don't know. We'll see what happens there. Yeah.
Do you have a website where you can learn more about the book?
Yeah, I guess it would be hadrianpublishing.com. That's HAIDREN publishing.com. And you can find out, actually you can find out a lot if you just type in Gregory Solis on Google. There's about 12 pages all related to this book already. So from reviews and from many sites in the horror internet community.